Welcome to Learning to Glow, a show about wellness, skin health, and self-development. I'm your host, Jess. I'm a mom, entrepreneur, and skincare expert. I'm so excited to share tips on how to achieve healthy skin and bring amazing guests in the field of health, fitness, aging gracefully, and personal growth. Let's explore all different ways we can take care of ourselves as women, both inside and out, to truly shine. So let's get glowing. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I have a great episode for you today. If you're a little anxious about time and not having enough of it, being busy, or just the holidays coming up, I know you will resonate with today's episode. I'm sharing tools I'm currently using as I navigate a busy season in my life, and I hope this can be an inspiration or a help in any way for someone feeling that they're just short on time and we want to enter the holiday season a little bit more prepared mentally too, because it's a lot of this work when it comes to feeling like you don't have enough time it's a mental game. So I'm sharing what has been working for me as I've been much busier lately and entering, starting as we're in November and heading towards December. This is definitely a time where I want to be on top of my game when it comes to being prepared. And I'm always sharing what I learn and what I do with you guys. I hope you enjoy it, and make sure to sign up for my newsletter at simplyjessskincare.com. We have some really great special offers this month, and I will always share a link to the episode that I have for the week. Thank you for being here and enjoy. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I have a solo episode with you. I love doing solo episodes lately, and you guys have been loving them too. So thank you for your feedback. The last one I did was about the 4 agreements. If you haven't listened to it, please go back and listen, because I don't think I've ever had so many messages, emails about a podcast. It really resonated with a lot of people. There was a lot of different types of responses, people saying, I had read this book and I forgot about it, and it's time to reread it, or people who had never heard about it and were going to be purchasing the book and looking into it. So I'm so happy that I had been wanting to do an episode about the 4 agreements for a long time. And I'm so happy I was able to get that out and that you enjoyed it. But today is going to be an episode about when life gets busy, how do we prioritize our health, our goals, our life, our sanity? And this is perfect timing because we're in the holiday season officially. I mean, it's November, and a lot of people, this is the busiest time of the year. And for me, I have had a change in commitments with my personal life, and I have a lot less time than I used to have taking on a new commitment. I have been in a transition trying to figure out, what do I do with less time? How do I still manage my schedule so that I get done what I want to get done and prioritize the most important things? And it's been a very interesting process for me. It's been about a couple months. And, I thought I was busy before. I thought I was a busy person, and now I'm busier. So October is always historically one of my craziest months. I have so many things going on with my family, and this past October, I was in a wedding, which was amazing. And I just had a ton of stuff going on top of having this new commitment of time. And so it was really crazy, and it didn't go perfect, but I learned through the process what I could do and how I could look at my life and my schedule and just reevaluate how I do things. And, I'm still in that stage of readjustment, but I've really started to implement a few things that have been super helpful for me. And it's really all about being practical, being realistic, and keeping what matters to me the most at the forefront, and realizing that, well, I can't do it all. So some things are going to have to go away, and I'm going to not be able to do it all, but that's okay. I know that a lot of people, a lot of moms that I talk to are feeling the same way. So I feel like I always want to share what's working for me. And I hope this can help if you are also feeling like that, or you're feeling overwhelmed, or that you don't have enough time. and you want to do something about it. So I'm going to share a few ways, maybe 5 ways to prioritize our health and our stress levels during this busy season. If it's a busy season for you, it's so funny because sometimes once I get past October, I feel like, yeah, it's busy, but it's not as crazy as October. And for me, been typically more busy in the summer. But yeah, this is also a busy season for me. And going to this next November, December, I want to make sure that I keep my stress at a minimum. So, the first thing that I'm going to do is and share is that we have to acknowledge the season that we're in. So, this is really important. It's like giving yourself awareness that if you are in this crazy busy season, it's not going to be forever. It's like I think about my child with sports. One of my kids is just really, really busy with sports. It's been every day of the weekend for months, like both days, and baseball is not a short game. I have to sometimes when I'm at the fields, I'm like, one day, not too long from now, I have a high schooler. I will not be at the baseball field, and I'm going to really miss it. I'm going to miss watching my son play. I'm going to miss talking to the other moms and just the experience of being there for my son. And as busy as it feels, like it's not going to be forever. That just kind of helps put me in it's not the same as like the guilt and the worry of like, oh, I'm going to miss this so much. Like, but at the same time, it makes me realize like this is a precious time in my life and in my son's life. And I appreciate being there. And although there's less time for me to get my stuff done on the weekends at this current moment, it's not going to be forever. It's a season. Even like in the next couple of months, it'll be a lot less than it's been. So I just think that, adjust our expectations and don't worry about, this isn't going to be forever. This is a season in our life. And so the second thing that I started to look at and really take seriously is what are my non-negotiables and how can I prioritize them? So let's be specific about health and wellness, because you all know, if you listen to my show, that I have been on a health and wellness journey. And that is ongoing, even though I'm busier, because that is one of the most important things in my life, that I continue to work on my health, that I reach some of the goals that I have set for myself. And just because I'm busy doesn't mean I'm going to let that go. That is actually more important to me than ever, because the last thing I need to do is let go of the things that keep me healthy and get sick while I'm busy, because I don't have time for that. So I like to figure out what are the like 1 to 3 things daily that I need to do that will support my health, and how do I fit those in? And this should be something that I can do even on my busiest days. And I do have days that are busier than others. I probably have 3 days where I'm like pretty swamped. So the realistic truth is I have to wake up early to get it all done. And that goes back to an episode I did a few weeks back about my nighttime routine. It's really important that I go to bed early and that I sleep well if I'm going to maintain this level of busyness and not have my health suffer, and that I have time to do what I need to do in the morning. And I feel like I've been pretty good. Actually, the time change has helped me a little bit when it comes to sleeping. Like my sleep has been better this week. And I don't know, I'm just like more tired. It's obviously because it's so dark out, but I'm sleeping a little bit better. And that just helps support my goal of waking up early so that's when I get my workouts in. I don't have time to work out like I used to. Like I have less time to get the workouts in. So I have to do it in the morning. And my workouts are pretty short. Like I can get my workout done in 30 minutes. My gym is in the garage, so it's pretty easy for me to get that done. That's realistic for me, and I only do about 3 to 4 days of the work week. In the morning, I do a workout. But every morning, I like to get up and have some type of quiet time, meditation. I like to maybe journal, read a little bit. It just depends on how much I sleep, because honestly, that is still one of the biggest priorities in my health. So I don't always do it, but I've kind of gotten to a rhythm of getting to bed early enough where I can wake up early and still feel good. And that is just one of the biggest non-negotiables for me, that most days I wake up early or I'm just not going to have the time to work on my health like I want to. For those listening, I feel like you can pick a couple things that are really important to you in whatever journey that you're on. And I think you just have to figure out what those are. Sleep should be for everyone. Like, how can we protect our sleep? How can we work on our nutrition so that we're not in a bad spot? And this is another thing that I guess I'll talk about now. I'm on the road more now. I'm not in my house like I used to be all the time. And so it does take an extra layer of planning. And I really suck at that at the beginning of this journey that I started. I was terrible. I just didn't really plan ahead. And I would come home after a day of just being starving. And I just maybe wouldn't make the best choices, or maybe I'd overeat because I'm not eating enough during the day because I didn't plan for it. And that is something that I've changed and I feel a lot better about. Planning, if you're gone all day or if you're out of the house, having something that you can take with you. I have a little cooler. I have those little freezer things that you put in your cooler. And I don't have to worry about not having food or having to stop and get something. And it's not just for like the health. Like, I don't want to be spending a bunch of money eating out all the time. I'd rather just bring my own. I spend so much money at the grocery store. I might as well use what I have. So planning for my nutrition is really another priority that I have gotten better about doing, and just planning ahead for it. The movement for me is like another thing that has been difficult. I can get my workouts in the morning with my strength training, but I used to get so much more steps than I am currently getting. And that is something that I'm trying to figure out how I can sort that and get that in. Maybe it's not as much as I used to do, but it's still enough that I feel good about. And just like taking time for that mindset, prioritizing my mindset practice. So my breathing, my meditation, whatever it is, trying to fit that in. And I did a whole episode on morning routines. I have this down. Like, you don't have to spend hours doing this. And some days I'm like, I'm really craving just sitting down and writing a gratitude list. And other days I'm like, I just want to read my book and get 10 minutes of my book in. So it looks different, but most days I try to do at least the things that are the most important for me, like the 3 things that are the most important for me. And if I have more time, I can add on at that time. Okay, that was a long one. Sorry. So the next one is, I'm rethinking the all or nothing mentality. I think this is really good when you're busy. Here's a perfect example of this. When you want to take a walk, for example, and you're like, I don't have an hour to set aside, so I just won't do it. Even 5 minutes or 10 minutes of a walk is something. That is something. And so, especially if you're doing it after meals, that's such a great way to just help your digestion and your blood sugar and all that. But an example I have of this is I had to go pick something up, and my order was not ready. And they were like, I think they said like 20 minutes. And instead of just waiting in the office or sitting in my car, and I've done that plenty of times, I was like, okay, fine, I'm just going to go on a walk. So I walked for 20 minutes and I got like a good amount of steps in that I wouldn't have normally had time to do. And it's like, oh gosh, like, I don't need a whole hour. I don't need to set aside these big chunks of time. I can do little things with a little time that I have, or like, even if it's a 5-minute walk after I eat lunch or dinner, it doesn't have to be like this big grand thing. Even with my workout, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I have 15 minutes. So I could either do nothing because that's not enough, or I could just do something. It all adds up, I feel like, and it all helps. It helps your brain. It helps your body. I mean, there's just so many reasons to not look at it like all or nothing, that especially when we don't have enough time and we have less time or we're busier than normal, you can still get things in. It doesn't have to look perfect. Another thing that I do is, if I have to wait for, this is for the moms who have kids in sports. I mean, a lot of the moms that listen have kids in sports. I have a lot of time that I could be wasting while I'm waiting for my kids, like warm-ups, or if there's a practice that my son has that I'm going to have to be there for, my son I'm really lucky. One of his practices is at a track. So I just walk the whole time he's practicing. And I can also do, things that I need to do. I can get back to people with my phone or whatever, but I can get those steps in. And otherwise, like it wouldn't have been such a good use of my time. So I try to think of it like that, like where can I get, especially this is very true for me and my steps because I really miss walking as much as I used to, but I'm still able to sneak it in. And I'm averaging like 12,000 steps a day, which is pretty good considering like how much, less time I have. The next one, number 4, is anchor your habits to existing routines. And I've also talked about this a little bit in the past, but this is like habit stacking. But I've talked about it in an episode called Wellness Pairing, which is kind of like habit stacking for wellness. And it's just basically doing things together, things that you're already doing, and you want to incorporate something else, pair it, anchor it with another habit. So if you are going to make your coffee and you want to start taking some breaths in the morning, maybe while your coffee is brewing, you can take 10 deep breaths, just something, it could be very simple. A lot of people will do like one of those red light masks while they meditate. So they're getting 10 minutes of facial rejuvenation and they're getting some meditation time too. So it's just like making the most out of your time by habit stacking, by wellness pairing. Those things are so simple to do if you are conscious of it. If you are already doing something, adding that new habit that you want to, or maybe it's not a new habit, maybe it's just something that you want to make sure that you keep doing, do it together with something else. And it's just a great time saver when we're short on time. I think number 4, that, anchoring our habits to something that we're already doing could go for being on screens, because I know this is something common. Like I was just talking to a friend who was saying she's been over scrolling. She's so stressed out. She's so burned out and she's been over scrolling. And it's just like a way for her to shut her brain off and not worry about like life. So she's just kind of numbing out with scrolling. But she also loves scrolling because she's learned so much. She's found all these new recipes and she's working on making more healthy meals at home and all of these things. And so it's like, okay, maybe be more intentional with your habits. Like say you need to shut off your brain for a little bit and you're like, okay, but I don't want to get lost down this crazy rabbit hole where I'm like, where did the past 3 hours go? Like, I don't have time for that anymore. So be intentional when you're doing things like that tend to, it's easy to lose track of time and get lost in something. And you're like, I just wasted so much time doing this. Be intentional about it. Go find something that you're looking for or search something up that you're looking for, but give yourself a time limit. We talked about this with the ADHD episode a couple of weeks ago, where some people are using apps to help with time limits and all of that stuff. You could set yourself a timer. It's very simple. Or you could just be like, okay, I want to go and be online for a little bit, or I want to watch a show and enjoy. You could also be like, putting your legs up the wall and then realizing, okay, I don't have all the time in the world like I used to. I need to make sure that I do this, but that there's an end to it. And so we can still allow ourselves to have our, the simple pleasures when we're busy, but like, what else can we do to help our bodies and our minds? Because this is about, I'm coming from this episode as a wellness episode. And I really feel like when you're busy and you keep telling yourself you're busy, it's so easy to get stressed by that. And then you just go in circles round and round, and it's hard to get out of that loop. I have done it and I've been there, and it's like, okay, first of all, I don't want to keep telling myself I'm busy. And I've even told my mom and my friends, like, I don't want to say this. I don't want to complain about it. I want to acknowledge it and process it, but also I don't want to get stuck in that loop, because another thing that I've learned to do during this time is like be aware of the things that I'm thinking. It's okay that I have less time, because I have a mantra. I have time for it all. I'm doing this podcast. I have my business that I'm running, and I'm working. So I have my kids, I have the sports. It's like all of this stuff, I have to make sure that I have a level head about it. Everyone has so much on their plates. I have time for it all. And what I don't have time for is it maybe serving me at this season of my life. And that helps just ground me a little bit because being more aware of my thoughts and being more aware of the sometimes overwhelm or the stress that I can create in my mind, there's different ways to go about it. And I have been swept up in those feelings. And then also I'm able to like recognize, no, I can manage this. And this is how I'm going to do it. And this is why there's a plan. And that's why there's being prepared. That's like with my food or the grocery store. A lot of times my grocery store is I shop online, I go pick it up because that saves me so much time. I used to like to go into the store and make sure there's nothing that I'm missing or whatever. And now I'm just like, I don't like doing that anymore. And I'd rather just save the time and do a 5-minute order on my phone, pick it up. And I'm like, okay, that's something that I can really take care of so much quicker. So finding things like that in my life, that is super helpful as well during this busy time. So the last thing in my 5 steps that I've been doing, and then, a lot of this is physical, like we're preparing, we're doing practical tips, but some of this is like our brain, like I just said, we have to really have our brains in check. And I say the fifth step is just coming back to my why. Why do I want to keep doing these healthy habits? Why do I want to keep doing this podcast? Why is it important that I wake up early? Because it's easy to be like, oh, just forget it. I don't want to do this. I don't have the time. So I have to reconnect with why I am doing the things that I'm doing. Why do I want to have the goals that I have? And what's that deeper motivation that's going to keep me doing the things that I want to do when it's easy to be like, ugh, I don't have time for that, or I don't want to do that, or I do want to do it, but it just seems too hard. The motivation is for me maintained through realizing like why I'm doing this in the first place. And when I feel like life is chaotic, it's about coming back to your why and reevaluating what can go. I was talking with a friend who we were going to go on a walk, and we're both in the same boat, like just a lot of the same type of schedule with our families and our jobs. And she and I met for a walk, and both of us were like, we don't have time for this. Like, we don't have time for this walk. I should be doing something else right now. And we laughed because we're like, but we both showed up because this is important. This is a priority. I want to get my walk in. I want to get my movement in. And I want to catch up with a friend. I don't want to just say goodbye to all my friendships because I'm in a busier time of my life. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to prioritize it. And it was tight. We both had like places that we had to go immediately after the walk, but I felt like my cup was filled. I was able to connect with a friend that I don't get to see very often. And that is for me what, like, that in that moment was what I needed and what I wanted. It mattered to me most. Maybe I don't know if I got the laundry in that day or not, but I felt like that was something that I needed. And so did she. And we were so happy that we were able to do it. So, it's coming back to your why. It's really staying flexible and giving ourselves some extra grace for the season that we're in and how we can keep going in a positive direction and stay healthy even through these busy times. And with the holidays coming up, it's less sunlight, it's more sugar, it's more stress, and it's easy to get sick. Our immune system can be a little lowered. So, moving into that, I also have a plan. I'm making sure I'm taking my vitamins, and I'm making sure that I try to do the best I can with my nutrition, that I am moving so that my immune system can remain strong. And then, it's like the last thing we need when we feel, oh, we're so busy and we're so stressed. And then you get sick and you're like, I don't have time for this. Like I said, you just want to do the best that you can to move through the busy season as healthy as we can. And it's not always possible, but kind of taking a step back and making a plan for yourself is a great way to alleviate some of the stress and really be realistic about what you're going to do, what you have the capacity to do, and try not to push yourself past that too often. I think juggling all the things can be really stressful. So, do you need more help? Where can you have more support? Who can you go to for that? If you have a partner, talking to your partner about that. That's something that I've really leaned on, and thankfully I have the type of partner who's really showed up for me and supported me in every way that I have needed, and that makes literally all the difference in the world, I'm telling you. So that is all I have for you today about being busy. And for me, I'm trying not to say that anymore. I do believe the things that I say and the words that I use and the thoughts that I think have a big impact on the way I feel. And that's from my life coaching experience. I have to really self coach myself a lot and be like, okay, well, not serving me. That's not serving me. So I'm more aware of the things. They still come up. They always will. And that's okay. But I think I'm getting the hang of all of this using some of these tips that I've used for my brain. That's why journaling also really helps. If you're feeling like you got too much going on in your brain, definitely write that down. If you are listening to this and you're like, I want to start waking up earlier so I can tackle some of the things that I need to before the rest of the house is up, try listening to my episode about nighttime routines, because I'm telling you that nighttime routine sets you up for so much success in the morning. And it's just, it's such a cozy time of year too. I was really like, my initial feeling about the time change was, ugh, like, I can't believe it. I hate this time of year. I hate this time change. It's so dark. And I decided to just really have a different opinion of that this year and just be like, okay, I'm going to embrace the coziness. I'm going to embrace the dark. I'm going to have my tea. I'm going to put music on. I've started like putting music on again when I cook dinner. It's dark out. I have my tea. It's cozy. I go snuggle into bed, at an earlier time. And it's like mindset. It's so much mindset for me because I do love the sun being out late, and it's easy for me to go into a dark space with that. But I definitely have been trying to be more optimistic about it. And it's working. Like, I'm not as upset. I'm okay with it. And I'm still walking. Like, I walked it during my son's practice while they were doing their track, and I still got my steps in, because I do think like, oh, I don't want to walk by myself at night. You know how we as women, it's not the best idea, but there are ways to do it where it's safe. And then I also have my walking pad. So all that to say that if you're struggling with feeling busy and overwhelmed and stressed, try some of these techniques out. It's really easy to get swept up in chaos, especially as we get closer to December, and gifts and planning and hosting, and do what you can to not be stressed out. Take the easier way if you need to sometimes. The perfect example of this is upcoming Thanksgiving. I love hosting. I love making dinner. I love doing everything from scratch. It's like what I've done for a long time. And this year I'm feeling very honest with myself, and I'm just not feeling up to the task, especially because I have something big that goes on with my business on the week of Thanksgiving and I'm working. So I decided to pick up pre-made dinners at one of my favorite restaurants that has amazing ingredients, and the food is so good. And I'm like, I'm just going to pick up from there. The stress just like poofed away, thinking about I don't have to go prep. I don't have to buy all the stuff. I don't have to cook it all. The next day, it's going to be so much easier. And so I was like, this is brilliant, especially because it's not like I'm paying that much more money to buy this stuff. I spend so much money on Thanksgiving dinner when I do everything from scratch, anyways. So for this year, that feels really good. In a few years, I might be like, no way in hell, I'm going to do all of this by myself, and I have the space for it and I have the capacity for it like I used to. So, but for this year, this is what I'm doing and it feels really good. So, what can I do to help myself out a little bit? Like, what's maybe the easier route? What saves me a little bit of time so that I can, do what really matters? And homemade, cranberry sauce or whatever I make isn't the most important thing this year. It's being with my family, being not stressed, enjoying myself, and just having more time because I decided to do it this way. So I will stop rambling. Thank you all so much for being here. I so appreciate you guys. If you have not left a review, please go and do that. It really helps out my show. You can share this episode. You make sure that you're subscribed so that you will know when we have a new episode. If you have any questions or if you have any feedback, I love to hear it. I had so much feedback from my last episode. So you can send me a DM on Instagram. You can send me an email, info@learningtoglow.com. And that is it for today. I hope that you all have a wonderful, wonderful week. I will see you next Wednesday. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. Please subscribe and review so we can reach more people who want to learn to glow alongside us. See you next time.